All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me good. Welcome to our fifth module. And actually, let's just switch this up. And I'm just going to move this around real quick. Properties. We should be able to see this now. Sorry about this, guys. Just noticing that that wasn't working. Boom. All right, now we should be good to go. Just make this a bit bigger. And blow this up a bit. Let's see if this helps. Perfect. All right, so let's get started. And kind of start with some of the feedback I've gotten from people. So this is not what I do to suggestions. I do take it, I really appreciate it. And I think one of the things I got in terms of feedback was to slow my roll a little bit. I think for some of you, I might be going a little bit too fast. So I'll do my best to kind of slow down the pace a little bit. For most of you, you seem to have been able to knit the RMD document. We'll go through that a bit today. But I wanted to start with a couple housekeeping items. When you're posting on GitHub, it's important. I told Nicole that I would pick on her ahead of time, so it's allowed now. Whenever you're posting, just make sure you can see here. There's a little preview tab. It just makes it a bit easier if stuff that's code, you actually just hit the code button, just like that. It just makes it a lot easier because then a person can just copy paste and roll with it. So I can do that because it's my repo, but for the most part, just try and edit your code if you can. Can I just get a confirmation from chat? Can you guys hear me good? Just give me a yes real quick. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so what I would recommend is as you go through these workshops, try to spend 1 hour outside of just listening to me, kind of trying stuff. And we'll go through that later. But it's important that you guys kind of get your hands dirty because or else you're not going to be learning that much. But we're going to go to GitHub soon. But while I'm talking, try and have my project name, that little folder that we downloaded, open on your computer. Because today I'm going to try and go step by step with you guys. And we're going to go through a file. But I'm going to paste something in the chat right now. And I want you guys to actually go and open it. So I'm going to do this live. So I'm going to paste this in the chat. So there's link number 1. I'm going to paste link number 2 right here. So I'm going to actually show this to you guys so you can see what we're going to do. So I've given you 2 links, right? So go ahead and take the link that I sent. You should be able to just paste it. And it should download a file, right? So for those who are looking, I'm going to save this on my desktop. And I'm just going to open it. And you'll notice there's a module 5 RMD. And here's my project name folder, right? So this is what you should have open on your computer. And I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to drag it into my project name. And I'm going to wait. And if anyone has any issues, they can share screen, and we can go through this. But essentially, you want to have it right in the My Project name. So you should be able to drag module5.rmd and put it in here. The second thing we're going to do is the second link I sent. So I'm going to grab it right here. And we're just going to go save image as. And we're going to go back into my project name. And we're going to save it under images. That's it. So I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to do that. If you have any issues, let me know. We're gonna work it out because I want you to be able to follow through what we're going to do today. But essentially, you just save it into images. I already have it, but So go ahead and do those two things. I'll give you guys a couple seconds, and then we'll keep rolling. But if you have issues, don't be shy. And I guess in the meantime, we may as well show this awesome TikTok that I saw on the forum. True story. So I don't know who posted that, but thank you. That made my day. So if you haven't been able to do those two things, let me know now. I have no issues sharing screen and helping you, but essentially you should have the module 5 RMD in my project name, and you should have the image that was the second link put in your images. So with that, I'm going to keep rolling, but hopefully that worked for everyone. So let's go ahead and continue here. And this, and let's switch back to our Google Slides view. Okay. So I have failed you guys a little bit, to be fair. And I think this is something that I came to notice when we were doing the installation stuff. One of the common, I just wanted to go through two of the errors that I got from the issues. The first was that couldn't find the function. This is quite simply that one line installing the package wasn't run. But anyways, the bigger issue that people seem to have was that they get something where like it says package XYZ does not have a namespace. And this is going to be something that you might run into with some degree of frequency when you're trying a new package. And it all revolves around dependencies. And I didn't really explain this properly when I went through the installation, but I'm going to explain it now. Yeah, let's go over package dependencies. And this all revolves around when you install or you load a package. Sometimes that package can depend on other packages to function. So I think the best way to do this is to show a real life example. So let's say you're Garfield and you're really hungry and you want to go do groceries. Well, your ability to go get groceries depends on the use of a car, and the use of a car depends on having gas in it. If you don't have the car, then you can't go do groceries. End of story. And the same thing is happening when you load one package. So for example, you load the tidyverse, it's depending on another package. And if you don't have that, the tidyverse is going to give you an error. So when that occurs, you'll get something like this in your console. It's a really quick fix, and I should have shown it. You'll just use install.packages, the name of the packages, and then dependencies equals true. So in this case, the error that a particular individual was having was UTF-8. So we just ran this with UTF-8 and problem solved. It's not something you're going to encounter very often, but I figured I'd put it up here so that if ever someone looks back at these videos a few years from now, they'll know how to fix it. Yeah, so today we're going to go over the process of running an Anova and some of its assumptions. For some reasons, I get asked almost every time I do this, why Anova, why Anova? Well, in my opinion, a t-test is a bit too simple. And the Anova will give us kind of that foundation that we need to build on other statistics. So this might not be what you use for your particular thesis or project, but the equation changes very little. And I think in the next slide, I actually show this. Nope, not yet. We'll get to it. But the goal for today, again, is we're going to look at lesson 5 and 6. We're going to focus on these right here, running our statistics. But by the end of this small module, we should be able to take a data set, run our test, and report it in a paper. That's our goal. Again, I really recommend you have R open, the My Project Name folder ready on your computer, because we're going to go through this together. That being said, I do feel anytime I do something with stats, this is my opinion. There are several different ways to do these kinds of things, but I wanted to show you guys one method but know that there are several others. But when you're trying to learn stats through Google, this is probably what's going to happen. There's a lot of information there. And beyond that, the difference between teaching statistics, where they give you these perfect examples that always work, and doing statistics, well, this meme captures it quite nicely. And my philosophy for teaching something is from one of my favorite movies. If you dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Well, you can dodge a crappy data set. You can run statistics. I'm not going to go over data wrangling methods. I always love putting this reference manager quote from The Office, but I'm going to assume your data is organized. That being said, we're kind of working backwards right now. We've kind of done the R Markdown stuff. Now we're going to go into running your stats, and then we'll go into a later module with data wrangling, how to clean your data. So if you do come to want to try and redo this with your own data set, just know that if your data is not organized, you might get some errors, but we'll go through that. Some advice that I wanted to kind of lay down on you guys before. There are a ton, and I mean a ton of packages for running stats in R. As I've said before, one of the advantages of R is that there are several different packages out there. The community's massive. Within the examples I'm going to be running today and next week, I've tried to minimize the number of packages, and I think that's not a bad mentality to have when you go into your own stuff. Try and stick to the few packages that you know really work, because you'll get to know them on a deeper level, like the inputs and the outputs. So I've given you guys what I would recommend as packages, but there are others if you come to need them. The other piece of advice I'm going to lay down on you guys is don't try and understand every bit of code. This is not the point of the workshop. I've spent a lot of time perfecting these. Take advantage of that. For now, try and identify parts of the code that you might need to modify. And in fact, one of the users from the workshop was kind enough to give me a data set, and I'm uploading a video right now that shows you how you would just edit some of the code that I have to get to where you need to be. And I think the mentality that you need to take on is more in line with this GIF. So there's me doing something, and there's you in the background, the follow during the next week. Monkey see, monkey do. There's no point in trying to break down every piece or line of code when you only need to change two things to get your desired output. So I encourage you to take on that mentality for now. And then as you become stronger and stronger experts in this, you can start to take on more and more. But for now, let this GIF guide you. So this is an example of it. You'll see whenever we open up module 5 that there's one line of code where here's the data set right here, DF, and it says group by group, and then get summary stats score. So actually take a second and look at this code. I have my data frame, which is being called, and it says group by group. So I want to summarize by here and score. So when you open up your own data set, if say, for example, you didn't have score, you had, I don't know, grade, like their grade in school. Well, the only thing that you really need to understand about this code is to change score for grade. That's it. The rest of this, you'll learn as you go. So I really encourage you just try and be more of like a Where's Waldo approach on like, here's the one thing I need to change, rather than trying to understand what all of these things mean. Right now, I'm going to ask everyone to pick a number between 1 and 6. You don't need to say it in chat, but remember that number. And we're going to go use the attached data set, and our goal is real simple in part 1. We're going to calculate the mean and standard deviation of two variables. So in the first one, we have an x and a y, and we're going to run an Anova. For the first part, we're not going to check any assumptions. There's no wrong answers, and you'll see in just a second what I mean by that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into R. You'll notice, I'll show this to you instead. It'll be easier. So let's go ahead and switch views. So here we go. I can close this. And I'm going to go into my project name, which you should already have. And I'm going to double click on the rproj file right here. And if I start going too fast, guys, just spam slow in chat and I'll stop. But right now, you should have my project name folder, and we're going to double click on the rproj file. And R will launch. Eventually. We're going to go ahead and open that RMD file that I sent you. So if I go here, I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to try and make some room here so you guys can see this properly. But because I clicked in the rproj file, at some point here, you should see a module 05.rmd. And click that once. We're going to open it. Has everyone got that so far? If I don't see no, I keep going, or slow. But we're going to go right here on line 49. And I just want you to highlight this, copy it, and we're going to put that in the console. Because it's going to ask you for a Gmail password. And if you don't have a Gmail account, let me know. We'll go through another method of getting this done. But you'll see here I'm loading the packages. And it's going to ask me to press 1, basically, because I already have this set up. But see, it says it's asking me for, I'm going to go 1. So I'm going to wait and see if someone else wants to share their screen. I'm more than happy to showcase it. But it's going to basically pop open a browser window where you're going to put in your password. That's just so you can read the Google Sheet. Not a ton to go off of there. Does anyone want me to use their computer as an example? Looks like people have got it. In any case, whenever you feel you've got that done, so after you've run this line, you'll see that in your environment, DF is here. Okay. So I'm going to assume that worked for everyone. Oh, sorry, you put 1 in the selection. Yes, I did. If you've never done this before, Robin, if you want to share your screen right now, I can help you with it. It might be good because I already have mine set up. But it should pop open a window in Chrome. Hey, Robin. So you're good. Just hit 1. So just for those that see, it's trying to get access. You hit 1 and enter. And then it should pop open a window where it's going to ask you to sign in. So you just click on your account right up top, right there, and allow. That's going to allow it to pick up the Google Sheet. And allow. I'm going to assume that worked. Oh, it worked? Okay, perfect. So, yeah, once you've done that, we're just going to go to the very top here, and we're going to click on Knit. Could not find the function resheet. Do you want to share your screen, and we'll go through it right now, Sarah? Okay. Worst case, I do have a backup plan because I did not think that some people might not have a Google account. But yeah, if you want to share your screen, Zara, we could go through it right now. But for those who are good, go ahead and knit the document, and then your Word file should pop up and you're ready to go for the next step. Okay, cannot function. Did you run the lines above it? So go up, I believe, right above, yeah, right there. You need to run, copy, yeah, that right there, all the way down, and then copy it. Oh yeah, you can run selected lines, that works too. Look at you being fancy. Yeah, you got to run that first, and then you can run line 53. But let's make sure it works. So you can go ahead and run line 53 now. And 1. And I can't see it because you're only sharing your RStudio window, but you should have a browser pop up and put in your password and it'll work. Perfect. Zara said it works. So Dana, if you want, I can help you afterwards as well. No issues there. I just see what you put in chat. Okay. So the goal here is quite simple. I want you to go right here where I say sheet is equal to 1. And this is where I want you to go ahead and pick your number between 1 and 6. That's it. So if I pick number 3, pick 3, I'm just going to go ahead and close this Word document because RStudio can't remake a document that's already there. Oh, screen is not, you can't see my screen right now? Oh, well, that's not good. Probably doesn't like when I take over. So let's do this here. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. But thank you, chat, for letting me know. Let me go put this back. Chat back. Thank you. Can you see the screen now? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Don't be shy, guys. So right here is where I told you to pick a number between 1 and 6. I want you to just change it for one of those numbers. And we're just going to go ahead and knit the document. And if you're having issues with it knitting, let me know now, because that's going to be the basis of the rest of this chat. But the goal is, for part 1, is we're going to get the mean of each variable, correlation between the two. And actually, I think that is actually going to be done perfectly for you. So I'm going to let this knit. You'll see it's doing its thing right now. Depending on how slow your computer is, this could take a second, but this is usually the part where I go, can't knit document. Heather, you can share your screen and we can take a look. Bring you over here. Cannot find function report. So that's easy stats. That's not loading. Yep. So this is, I thought we fixed this on yours, didn't we? Okay, I can meet with you afterwards because this is obviously not the code. And you're open. Did you click on the rproj file whenever you opened this? Yeah, so if you go back into the My Project Name folder, you want to double click on that rproj file. That's pretty critical. Have that error too. Is it the report, Mike, that you're having an issue with? Yes. Okay. No, that's just the name of the model. There's nothing that. So this has to go do with the install file. So it's just that obviously didn't finish working for you. Well, Mike, I'm assuming you're having the same issue? Yes. Okay. So if you go into scripts, because I can see you're not in the right spot right now, I'm just going to take over and we'll spend a minute on this. And then after that, I will help you definitely after this is done. Okay. So under scripts, install.r. This is this part right here. So Mike, if you're looking at this right now, this is what we need to run. Just gonna, oops, I can't do that properly. I want to run this line here, remotes install GitHub report. So just copy it. I'm gonna paste it in the console. Okay, and like I said, Heather, I will help you once we're done. I just don't want to take too much time on this, just in case. And then 1. But yeah, this is probably. Did you run back through the installation after you took out OneDrive? Okay, I will definitely help you with this as soon as this is done. But I'll just keep rolling through here if that's okay. But yeah, I will definitely help you with that once we're done. But anyways, for those who are done, you should have a Word document now. And you should have a descriptive table. So the way you would summarize this is you have our Anova table here. You would say that based on the effects that we did our dv by our independent variable, and it's saying that there's a significant, well, not in this case. In this case, there's no significant effect. But essentially, the reason I'm doing this is to prove a point in a very roundabout way. That you should plot your data. And the reason for that is because I had everyone pick a data set between 1 and 6. And you came up with whether or not you had a significant effect or not. And this is not that far off what you do in a normal analyses. The issue is that I gave you guys all data sets with issues. So if you picked data set number 1, you drew a star. If you picked data set number 2, you drew an X shape. If you picked data set number 3, you drew a dinosaur. Data set number 4, dots, 5 circle, 6 bullseye. And what's more is that each of these have the exact same mean, standard deviation, and the same p-value. So this is one of the reasons I am, again, this is partially opinion. I think you need to plot your data. Because if you went to publish, that'd be amazing though. If someone published a dinosaur figure to go along with their data and said there was a p-value that was significant. I hope this kind of brings the point. So that was kind of the whole point of part 1 is plot your data. And we'll kind of get to that. But you can see here, they all have the same mean, standard deviation, standard error, and confidence intervals. Every one of those data sets has the exact same one. So I guess that's kind of the point, is if we're going to take the wise words of Ross, every day is a good day when you plot your data. It's more or less what he said. And with R, we get to use the grammar graphics. We're not going to go too much into detail with this now because it is its own module. But yeah, we'll go into it at a later time. And for anyone who's ever plotted with MATLAB, I had a student send this to me, Joel. I don't know if he's here, but this was amazing and very representative of my experience trying to plot in MATLAB. And here's kind of just an idea for those who want to do more complicated stats. Today we're going to be doing an Anova, but I just want you to see how that might change if you wanted to do, say, a general linear model. It's the same y by x formula. And same thing for logistic regression. So you're changing very little. So this is why I'm saying if you want to do other forms of analyses, you can. And it's a very small change. If you wanted to run a mixed model, same thing. Bayesian model, same thing. So there's just small little differences. But if you can do the Anova, obviously you can change 4 letters. But Anova is just the easiest to interpret, and we don't need to give an hour of stats theory on how it works. So for now, I'm going to run through plotting the data, running the model, checking the assumptions, and reporting in text. So I'm going to assume that you were able to knit the document. And Mike and Heather, I apologize. I will help you guys out, obviously, as soon as this is done, if you guys have time. So I'm going to put this over to the side here and put this right here so you guys can see it side by side. Okay. So let's go down to part 2. So as I mentioned, I'm assuming people can still see this. Yes. Okay, perfect. There are a ton of packages. I'm going to show you a few. And the first thing I run is if we go down to part 2 right here, I give you guys a couple of examples on how to import data. The example I'm using right now uses read sheet because it's grabbing data from a Google Sheet. That being said, that was just an easier way for me to not have to update the my project name for everyone. But for the most part, I would recommend using the Rio package. And actually, if you click here, I gave you guys hyperlinks, it'll open the Rio package information. So that opens in my browser right here. And this is why it's kind of awesome, because it deals with so many different types of formats. It'll open a SAS file, Minitab, Systat, Excel, R, you name it. These guys were kind of crazy about going about it. So for the most part, that's the syntax you're going to use. And I gave you guys a couple of examples on importing different types of data sets. So here's for an XLSX, which is an Excel file, a CSV, or SAV, which is SPSS. Let's scroll down a little bit. The first step in just about any analysis, you're going to load your data. So that's what you guys did right off the bat. And we can go ahead and just rerun that right now. Oh, it's all good. And then I also factor. So factoring is just a method of turning it into more of a statistical factor, because when it comes in, it's normally treated as characters. So that's pretty common across most statistical programs, SPSS. I know SAS has a version of this too. So there's not a ton there. But now that we have the data set loaded, we can go ahead and just get the mean and standard deviation. So it took DF, and I'll actually show you what DF looks like right now by going, I'm trying to make this as big as possible, but show all panes. Let's look at what DF looks like. So here's DF, or data frame for short, and it took the mean and standard deviation of these numbers and put it in here. And then the next step was I did a quick box plot, which is always nice. I can see there's potentially 2 outliers here, but we keep rolling. And for this case, we're going to go through some of the assumptions of the Anova. The first is no significant outliers. We want normality, homogeneity of variance, and the independence of observations. So when I first run this first line of code, it's telling me that there's 2 outliers. And what's nice is that it actually tells me which 2 IDs, which you see here, are the source of the outlier. And for those who are unaware, there's different ways you can calculate outliers, but in this case, it does interquartile range, which you can Google, of course. But I don't personally like this setup. I like looking at the box plot with dots because of this reason. So when you run like the normal box plot, you're not really sure what the underlying data is giving you. But by plotting like this, I can actually see where those dots lie. And this is what we're going to be learning actually in module 8, whichever one's the ggplot module. But again, I'll go back to the monkey see, monkey do. You really only have 3 things to change. You have your data frame here, group, which is on my x-axis, and this on my y. Don't try and understand the rest of it just yet. We'll get to that eventually. But when I plot this, each different color is a particular ID, and I can see that there's 2 that are obviously problematic. So normally I would remove these or look into them, make sure there was something going on, but we're going to keep rolling. Next, I look at the residuals so that I can see if the normality assumption has been violated. And when I check the p-value, I can see that no, we're good. I can also check for normality by group. So if I want to see if there's one particular group that is outside of normal, I can also do that as well. And again, no big issues. And we can plot it just to make sure. You can see the 2 dots, they're kind of on the verge, but we're still good. Finally, we'll go through homogeneity of variance. Again, we're good. Yeah, so let's go through and actually check out our model. And I'm going to pull this up right here. Computing your model. So I run the model here, and it gives me a p-value that is significant, but I want to actually see what this means. So I'm going to run an effect plot. And clearly, from what I can see here, the TBI group, in this case traumatic brain injury or concussion, is significantly lower than both the control and the OI group based on this figure. But I need to make sure that that's true statistically rather than just visually. But before I do that, I actually go through and I check the performance of the model. I make sure that all these assumptions have been met. But I can go ahead and do a Postdoc test. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller so it fits on my screen. right like that. So when I compare control to the OI group, it is not significant. Control to TBI group, significant. OI to TBI group, significant. So what I can conclude by this is that the TBI group, or the concussion group, is different than both control and orthopedic injured. For those who don't know, OI stands for orthopedic injured. So in concussion research, we'll sometimes add compare to individuals who have also had an injury to compare it to. So that's what OI stands for. Finally, now that we see that there is a significance in our statistic, we need to report it, because most manuscripts, they want you to actually write it out. So I use report model here. And it says the main effective group is significant and large. It gives me a p-value, my effect size, and 90% confidence intervals, which is awesome. And then finally, I can go ahead and visualize this right here. So I get a nice little figure here where it gives my F statement, my p-value, and my eta squared. And then the final thing is we can go ahead and write this up. So if we go down to the bottom here in R, I've put in my sample size, and then you'll see how I report right here with our backslash, which we showed in the fourth module. It's saying postdoc comparison using 2KHSD indicated that the mean score in the TBI group, so it grabs the mean right here, right? This is where I'm putting in that code chunk. Mean of 4.66, standard deviation of 0.79, was significantly lower than both control and the OI group. However, there was no significant difference between the OI and control group. Whew, that was a lot, but hopefully that makes a bit of sense. And again, you do not need to reinvent the wheel for this. Next week, we're going to look at interactions, and we're going to see what happens when you have an interaction. But in terms of exercises, what I would recommend, and I'm going to put this up on GitHub as soon as it's done, is, and I did this for someone else on the workshop, is take the data that I just gave you and go and mess with it. So in this case, you have, this is me from earlier today, and you can follow along on the YouTube video, but go take another data set that you have and just change one line. You have one line to change. Change your DF. So in this case, maybe you have an Excel sheet and you can just change it up a little bit. For the moment, I'd say try and use the same column names if you want to modify it in Excel. It'd probably be safe until we get to the final module. But I'll be uploading that video basically as soon as we're done here, so that you can go. So give me give me 3 hours, because sometimes it can be slow. But just go ahead and mess with it. And if you just look at the patterns that you need to change, it should be okay. For most of you, you're probably going to use the import function. I just did Google Sheets because I have to share the same file with several people. But I gave you an example on how to do that right here, right? So in this case, if I went into here, in a raw, I can import this. So I show you the example right here on how to run it. With that said, guys, I do not have a ton more to say, but go ahead and break it. This is definitely the time to spend that 1 hour outside of me talking and go mess with it. Because if you have issues, bring them to me. So post an issue to GitHub with what you've got, and if we can't find a solution there, I will do a one-on-one Zoom call with you, and we will figure it out. It's important that happens. So with that said, I'm going to open it up. If anyone has any questions about the content, let me know right now. But otherwise, I'm going to help Mike and Heather with their issues. So does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments? Feel free to put your mic and video on and we can chat, but no problem, Robin. Okay, so Mike, if you're still there, can you go through the template styles after? Yeah, we can go through it right now, Dana. Share your screen and it's all yours. First come, first serve. No worries, Tyler. But yeah, I'll help everyone who wants to stick around. I will help you with the issues you've got. Okay. Directive styles. Okay. So we're going to start from the beginning. So who am I speaking to? Dana. Okay. Dana, can you go ahead and close R? Okay. I want you to show me the My Project Don't Save. Yep. Okay. So right now I want you to grab module 5 and I want you to carry it into the My Project Name folder. And that just fixed your problem. Who's next? Yeah, because it's looking for directories. Who's next? Awesome. If you run into any issues, don't be shy. I check GitHub often, and if we can't solve it there, we'll do a quick Zoom call like this. But it's easier to do at the end of a workshop like this, right, than having to go through all that. But go ahead and break it and give me an update. Barbara, you're up. Okay, I'm a visual learner, so if you want to share screen. Yep. Oh boy, okay, so there's some stuff going on. So we're just going to start from the beginning. Close R, and close it all. And I just want you to go to the My Project Name folder. So close RStudio completely. And we're going to go start from the scratch, because this doesn't look like it's good. So you should have that folder on your computer somewhere. Can you scroll down? I'm going to help you. Scroll down. See you might download the My Project Name. See how it's in blue? All the way at the bottom, number 7. Click on that. And that should download a file, and just put it on your desktop or something. You might need to, it might be a zip file, so you might need to extract it on your, yep. But we just need the folder not zipped. So go ahead and extract it somewhere. There we go. That'll work. So double click on that. And then double click on the rproj file. Yep. So every time you launch, you have to click on the rproj file because it does relative paths. It's super important because if not, it'll break. No, that's good. And like when I run projects, I make a copy of this folder and I just change the name. So in my case, it might be, I don't know, like educationproject.rproj, right? So I don't reinvent the wheel and try and recreate all these files. I always have a manuscript, hopefully, from my projects. It's not, so you can go ahead and I'm not sure if you've installed stuff, but we can go ahead and just try and opening. Okay, let's try opening manuscript.rmd and we'll try knitting it. So right on the bottom quadrant, right there, yep. And Command Shift K, or the little knit button at the top. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I'm so used to keyboard shortcuts. I'm sorry. It'll just make sure that everything's installed. And if that works, we can do the same. Cannot function. Okay, so you're gonna go under scripts. It's a common thing. So on that little same thing where you were, the scripts folder. Nope. So right on the bottom right corner. Here, why don't I'm going to request remote control. Yeah. So click on scripts. Oh, no, you can deny it. Doesn't matter. I can walk you through it. So scripts. Install.r. So yeah, you have quite a few things it looks like you haven't installed. So I would run through this file, and on the GitHub page, I walk through it. So I'd say walk through that, and if you have an issue, we can meet up again. But are you familiar with the GitHub page? Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, so... Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we can go ahead. I just want to make sure you get past line 8, because you have to make sure you have Git installed. So go right at the top of this file. And yeah, so we're going to run. So if you just start hitting Command Enter, it's going to run the line. Yeah, so start at line 4. Yeah, you just Command Enter. Yep. So see, it's going to run it. It works. And hit it again, Command Enter. No, it's already moved down for you. It's like automatically gone to line 5. So you're going to say yes. And you'll notice there's going to be a little stop sign at some point. See a little stop sign? You just got to let it do its thing during that time. And then you're going to click yes. You might want to make it bigger, or just yes and enter. I don't know if you can make it take up the whole screen. It might help for... Oh, no, I mean the RStudio window. I think it's the plus sign up top on Mac. I'm not that familiar. Something like that. Yeah, that little guy. And you're actually going to want to make that console down at the bottom. So go all the way to the bottom. It's almost off your screen. We want to just expand the console window so we can see it. Kind of not just the half window. That one right there, so we can watch it. So yeah, you're just going to run through this, and then we'll see where you get. And if you have any issues, I'll come back to you. Does anyone else need any help? Because if not, I'll keep helping Barbara. But it looks like everyone's good. But if anyone else needs any help, don't be shy. Go for it. Take over. Share screen. Words mean nothing. So you should be able to knit the document now. Knit. Yeah, that's okay. It'll just... Yeah. Okay, then you're perfect. And then do the same thing with manuscript module 5. Yeah, sorry. So that error that you just got was just because it was open in Word. Yeah, because it can't remake the document if it's already open. So you got to make sure it's not open. It's not that big a deal. You just got to reknit it again. But so I had shown this in the last one. Can you just run line 53 on its own? Oh, it just collapses because you're hitting it on the side. Yeah. Yeah. It should pop open your browser. I can't see it, but it should ask you to log into Gmail. Can you run line 49 first, just to make sure the packages are loaded? Then do it again. And go click on console rather than R Markdown. So on the bottom left, click on console so we can actually see. Okay. Hit 1 and enter. There you go. Now you should be able to knit everything. Try it again and let's see where we get. See if report still gives us an issue. Let it go. Let's see what happens. Okay. Can you So you have two rproj files in your directory. My project name 2 for working. You only ever need one. Yeah. Delete. Yeah. We only need one. Can you just go ahead back and install .r? And we're going to try running that one line. So it's line 21. So it wasn't installed. So hit 1 and enter. Yeah, but if you uninstalled it since, then yeah. Well, I could tell you did it right, but I'd be lying. It happens. This is the hardest. Honestly, the installation is the hardest part. If you get through that, we're golden. So trust me, the frustration will end. It is by far the most frustrating part. And I apologize for putting you through it, but in order for this to be useful for you, we just got to power through, right? Don't hit stop. Don't do that. Don't break it. Let it play. So I'm gonna let that happen. And Barbara, are you good? We can. Oh wait. So failed to install. Okay. So this is a good one. It says it's in use, and it won't be installed. So this goes back to you're trying to update a package that is already in use. So two things you can do. You can start a new session and do it again, or we can unload the packages. So if you look up, I gave you code for that. Up. Scroll up and install.r. Just go up. Here, I will post it in chat. But it is, I paste that in your command window. Basically, it's trying to update something, but it can't because some of the dependencies are loaded. So we're going to run that, and then that's good, and then try rerunning the line again. Yeah. Hit number 1 and enter. Trust me, the pain gets worse. As soon as we're done with this, then you're going to be good. Barbara, are you okay? It'd take a while, depending on your internet speed. But if you do run into issues, just post an issue on GitHub, and I can do a little Zoom sesh with you. But yeah, normally, like what I do is like when I install this the first time, I literally will just have another project I'm working on in the meantime, and then I'll go back. Stop sign still going. Okay, keep working, and then. But yeah, it's because we're trying to install everything all in one shot. Yep. Yeah, so I can show you. Yeah, so if you just click on right here under module recordings, as soon as you click, it's hyperlinks for the video. Yeah, so if I'm on the Git, can you see my screen right now? Oh, no. Okay, no, that's good. Give me a sec. Boom. So under GitHub right here, can you see this? Okay, so right at the bottom here, module recordings, if you click here, it'll open a YouTube video link. And I go through the process. Yeah, but if you've done this and it doesn't work, then I can just have a Zoom call until it's done. So yeah, if you've done it, we're good. Dana, I know exactly what the issue is because the first thing I showed in the workshop was to download those images. So you have to add that into your images directory. So I'm going to send that to you right now. So go into my project name, then you have to add this in. So I'll show you right here. What you are missing is just save the image and go to wherever my project name is for you under images and save that. Yeah. It's all about the directories. If your directories aren't good, the computer doesn't know what you're doing. So, yeah. I don't know if anyone still needs help. Speak up. I'm more than happy to. I think Heather, did you figure it out? Share your screen. Let's get it. Let's get all this stuff done. Not now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna take over. Request remote control. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Says it's good, so if I go. What is going on here? So you have 2 of them installed. Okay. Interesting. Do you see this? This part. But that's probably what's happening is you've got packages installed on one drive and then in another location. So that seems to be, let's just see if we can get this to work now. It's going back into OneDrive. Looks like we're good. Yeah, we could probably Google that and just find a way to force it. But okay, and Word's close. Okay, perfect. No problem, Dana. Bada bing, bada boom. Yay! Hell yeah, it is. That's it. So I'm going to give up remote control. Like I said, I do have a video that I'm going to put up very shortly. It goes through like how you would edit this to work with your stuff. I'm going to basically, it's uploading right now. So like I said, in a couple hours, it should be up and I'll put it on GitHub underneath. So I took someone else's data set, not this one, and I show you how to go through the process of basically modifying the code so it works with yours. But if anyone else or you have any other questions, I think this is all you needed, right? You wanted it to just work? No worries. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm happy to assist while we're here. Just figured mine out. Perfect. Let's go Andrew or Daniel, do you guys have any questions, or did you guys fall asleep? Could be that too. No worries. Okay, I'm gonna pretend everything's good. Daniel, I'm gonna assume things are good. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now and close it out. But if you need any help, Daniel, you can post it on GitHub. Alrighty, have fun.